Welcome to the Sandro channel. Make sure that you subscribe.
Hi folks, Sandro here with more cartoon news and shenanigans, and today I'm actually going to be doing a quick little video discussion on the future of Pixar. Yeah, so in case you guys haven't noticed, Pixar has not been doing so hot. Neither has Walt Disney Company itself, you know, to be fair. Their stocks are in the shitter right now. They had to bring back Bob Iger. You know, it was just a disaster after a disaster here. And the whole, honestly, the entire entertainment industry is just in the gutter right now. But specifically, Pixar. I wanted to focus in on Pixar. This was a legendary studio. This was a once great studio, maybe back in the Steve Jobs days, you know, maybe back in the John Lasseter days. But nowadays, no, it has not been, you know, sunshine and daisies over in Pixar land. Things have not been going well. They've been putting a lot of identity politics into their movies. In fact, Lightyear itself had a gay couple, and the weirdest thing about that one, it was a lesbian couple, but the weirdest thing about that one is you have these two women, it's an interracial relationship, but they had children. They had grandchildren, so it's like, what is the story? They don't even explain like any. Where did they get the kids? Were they adopted? You know, like are they actually both bisexual and they both had like lovers previously, and that's how they got the kids? Like, what is the situation there? They didn't really they left it up to the imagination. My running joke is that both of those lesbians were just sluts. They were sleeping around the whole ship, you know? Oh my god. That's just my canon, okay? That's my special canon for that movie. But the point still stands, you know? We've been seeing Disney push the agenda. They've been pushing that we don't even see white men anymore. Like, anytime you see a white man in a Disney production, they're always stupid, they're dumbed down, they're belittled. We can't just have a strong male role model anymore, and it's so miserable over at Disney and all of their subsidiaries and things. They're just ruining everything, and it's no wonder that Lightyear was a flop. Yeah, Lightyear was just outright a flop. Turning Red, remember I did a video on this where there was a huge I don't even like this movie, by the way. Turning Red and Luca. I also don't like Luca. I've talked about on my tier list, right? I have a special video where I do a tier list every time a new Pixar movie comes out, and I actually put most of these new movies like at the bottom. You know, Incredibles 2, I thought like Coco was the last good one in my opinion. Coco was pretty solid. I really enjoyed that one. The Incredibles 2 was nowhere near as good as the first Incredibles. The villain was just, what was her name? Like Evelyn something? Just a very crappy villain. The story wasn't good. They forgot Dash could walk on water. You guys remember that? At the end of the Incredibles 1, Mr. Incredibles throws the football, and Dash, he runs so fast that he was able to run on water and get it. No, sorry, it wasn't a football. It was like the remote to destroy Syndrome's robot. He runs on water to go get it. And in the second Incredibles, there was a big scene where they're like on a ship, and the ship is going to crash right into the city if nothing's done. And you see all the various characters like is it Frozone? Where he's like freezing the ocean, trying to stop it. And, you know, a bunch of heroes are trying to do this and that to like make sure the boat slows down so it doesn't crash into the city. And I was just there like, Dash can run on water. Why doesn't Dash just like run? Why doesn't Dash start running on water quick enough where he can like, or even swimming, right? Dash has like super swimming abilities. Why doesn't he just make like a whirlpool around the boat and like change the direction of it? You know, the writers completely oversighted that. That was even a key plot point to defeating the villain of the first Incredibles movie, that Dash could run on water. They completely forgot about it. It was just bad writing all around. The story focused on Miss Incredible a lot, and you know, I just wasn't digging that movie. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I thought The Incredibles 1 was like an absolute masterpiece. I'd give it like a 9 or a 10 out of 10. And Incredibles 2, I give it like a half that, like 5 out of 10 at best. Just was not impressed with The Incredibles 2. But it was great to see them again after all those years. I remember in the theater when I went to go see it, the first thing that pops up, they're like, Samuel L. Jackson was like, I know it's been 15 years since the last one, but hopefully it won't be another 15 till The Incredibles 3, which I'm sure that's another thing we could talk about, but I don't think The Incredibles 3 is coming like anytime soon. Like it'll come eventually, just not right now. Then we had Toy Story 4. Just I thought it was a lackluster story. We already had Toy Story 3, which was a great conclusion to the franchise, but they just wanted to milk this shit for all the money it was worth. One of the things I discovered, there is apparently talks of a Toy Story 5, and we were discussing this in my live chat. Are we gonna? Which way are they gonna go from here on out? Are we gonna see Woody and Bo Peep in the park? Like, right, that's kind of where we left off. They split into two teams now. Woody and Bo Peep are living life in the park. Buzz Lightyear and Jesse and like Bullseye and the gang are all they're going back to Molly, right? They went back to Molly. I think that's what it was. So yeah, it's like, what's the situation? Are we gonna? I'm assuming we're gonna pick off from Buzz Lightyear. That's what I would assume. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we go back to the park and we just get another Woody adventure with Bo Peep down there. I don't know. I'm kind of interested to see where they go with Toy Story 5. In fact, it's called Toy Story. It's not like it's called Andy Story. It's not like it's called Woody or Buzz Story. They could just reboot they could literally just call this Toy Story 5 and just go to a different child's house and give us a new tale. Or maybe we'll see Sid's children. What about that, we could go anywhere with this. It's Toy Story. It's not, it's not locked in to any one particular character. We could get a Toy Story from anyone. So I'm kind of interested to see where this franchise goes in the future. And we're gonna move on. We're gonna move onward, I should say. Yeah, great stuff. Great segue. Great segue, folks. Onward. I didn't like this film. This was the first one also. Again, Disney and their first time for everything. This was, they had like a lesbian like troll or some shit like that, right? There was like some like a police officer, senator or whatever, or was it a troll or something, or a cyclops? She like, she's like, yes, I love you too, my lesbian wife, or whatever the fuck. So yeah, we had that situation. This is when Disney really cracked on to the whole social justice bullshit, and from this point on, like really Pixar's films, they just gone downhill. They haven't gone onward. They've gone downhill. This movie was actually in theaters and it was pulled due to the pandemic, and people actually expected this to be a box office flop. By the way, this one was not gonna, judging from the projections, this one was not gonna make money. And Disney can't. They technically can blame it on the pandemic, but there was other movies at the time. There was like things like Harley Quinn. What was it? Birds of Prey or something. There was other movies in the box office that were actually making money, so they can't exactly pin it entirely on the whole situation with the pandemic. So yeah, this one was technically a flop. Soul. I think this one also was just put right onto Disney Plus. I don't think that one launched in theaters. And yeah, December 20. It would have been the pandemic at that time. Luca. This one. No, I've talked about this. I actually did. I did a video. I talked about it. I do not think this is a good movie. This movie put me to sleep. Nothing exciting happens. It's just a very boring movie. I call it a snoozer. Like it puts you to sleep. Nothing exciting happens. There's no villain. Nothing really interesting happens. Same thing with Turning Red. It's literally just a family drama film. There's nothing really big here. When I told you guys dozens of times, I thought when the grandmother shows up halfway through the film, she has like a scratch on her eye. I thought the grandma was going to be like the villain or some shit. And no, there really was no villain. It was just a dispute. It was just it was a weird movie about girls on their period, and a weird family drama film. And the other thing that really pissed me off was that it takes place in Canada, but it features a completely like Asian or Chinese family. And I was like, this has nothing to do with Canada. They just use the settings, they use the settings, the CN Tower and the Sky Dome. And I just don't like this movie. For all the Canada that they put in there, it wasn't worth it. And then again, back to the flop of Lightyear. So yeah, Pixar, just to reiterate, is on a downward trend. Then we look at what's upcoming. We got 4 things to talk about, okay? Let's start with Finding Nemo 3, otherwise known as Finding Marlin. This is a rumor. This is not on the list because you notice here Elemental, Elio, these are confirmed. This is a rumor. Finding Nemo 3 release date. Again, rumor. According to some sources, rumor, Finding Nemo 3 will be called Finding Marlin. That makes sense. The first movie is about Marlin and Dory finding Nemo. Okay, the second movie was about well, technically this one this one was a weird one. But Finding Dory was actually about finding her parents, but like they also Marlin and Nemo actually go and look for Dory, right? They get separated and then eventually they catch up. So the third movie would surely be Nemo and Dory doing a team up to find Marlin. I actually gave you guys my idea for what a plot could be. You know how Nemo's mom dies in the first one at the very beginning there? My thought process was that Marlin finds a girlfriend. You know, he goes on after all those years of like raising, maybe Nemo's a little bit older in this one. And my thought process was maybe Marlin finds a new wife. Maybe he finds a new girl he's dating, or a new fish, I should say. And maybe we see the situation that the girl gets kidnapped, right? Maybe the girl gets like hooked, or, you know, she gets caught or something. Marlin then goes across the entire ocean and to save her, and then Nemo and Dory have to like catch up to him and do a whole big thing. I don't see why that seems like a plot to me, right? Like that just seems like a really good plot. Let's see what they have to say here though. So according to some sources, Finding Nemo 3 will be called Finding Marlin, which will be a sequel to Finding Dory, which came out 6 years ago. It has been created by the same creator and director of the previous two parts, Andrew Stanton. The film is currently in the making, according to some sources. It is scheduled to be released on July 24, 2026. That's way out there. That's 3 years away. So don't expect much. You know, maybe Disney will, maybe next year, maybe at one of their investor calls, maybe they'll just like throw that in there. Like, hey guys, you know, Finding Dory actually made over $1 billion. I don't like that film at all, by the way. I thought that was a very weak film. But Finding Dory somehow made over $1 billion at the box office. Just imagine telling your investors, we got another third installment to $1 billion franchise here. That's going to get those numbers right up, because Disney, they're on the down right now when it comes to the stocks. So I could see them doing that, pulling that at an investor sharehold meeting or something. They just name drop Finding Nemo 3, Finding Marlin. I could see it happening. So viewers have to wait 4 more years to see the film. Animation films generally take a lot of time, like the first part when Finding Nemo was released. It took about 13 years, what the heck, for Andrew Stanton to make Finding Dory. Well, not the whole process took 13 years. It's more like it took him some years to prepare the script, some to finalize it, and some years to actually make it the way he wants. It's not easy to make animation films, so fans have to really be patient in case of animation films, because they never know when it'll actually come out. Yes, true. So that's just a rumor, though. Let's go back. We're going to head back. We're going to talk about Elemental. So this film, I've talked about it. I've done multiple videos on it on my channel. It seems to be another love story type of situation here. We have a fire girl, possibly having relations with a water boy. We're not exactly sure what the heck they're going for here. It's a very experimental type of film. We saw a trailer. We did see a trailer. They go in a train. It looks to be a love story from the looks of it. You know, that's what I would wager it was going to be, a love story. But I don't have high expectations for this film. My thought process, why do I think this could flop? Well, my big reasoning is like, what's the draw, right? We watched the trailer. It was kind of lackluster. Most people said like, you know, it was just it was a very creative trailer, but like, what's the draw here? Is there a villain? Maybe Disney no longer does villains like they used to. Most of these movies, Lightyear is an exception. Lightyear is a very strange exception because that movie was supposed to be about Buzz Lightyear, right? Like, Buzz already had lore. Buzz had Zurg as a villain in Toy Story 1 and 2. So, obviously, Zurg was kind of going to reappear here with the whole Lightyear situation. But Turning Red, no villain. Luca, there is a bit of a bully, but like he's not he's not really a villain. He's just a bully who challenges them to a bike race at the end. He's not even like I can't even remember his name. You remember the old villains from Disney, Pixar. Randall, right? You remember Randall. You remember Zurg, right? I just talked about Zurg there. You remember these kind of villains from some of the earlier Pixar films. But when it comes to the newer ones, like it was just a forgettable bully. You can't remember his name, you know? Then we have like Luca, or sorry, not Luca, Soul. Soul was just another, I don't know, this was kind of a weird slice of life type of thing, you know? It was one of those films where it's like, you should make every day last because it could be your very end. One of those types of films, you know what I'm talking about. And just a weird afterlife type of situation. But the problem was, it's like Coco literally Coco was about the afterlife also. And I felt Coco did a way better job than Soul. Soul was another boring film. At least Coco had a villain, right? The Remember Me guy. I don't remember his name. There I go. I was talking about how older Pixar, you remember a lot of those villain names. The newer Pixar, I don't know, man. I'm just not locked in. But Onward, another situation, really not a villain. It was a story. It was some sentimental story where they try to get one more day with their father. This is what Pixar is going for now. They're going for the sentiments here. Toy Story 4, they had that girl. There was like a female doll that girl, right? I can't really get to it in time, but there was that girl, the toy in the bottom left corner. She wasn't really evil. She just wanted like Andy's voice box, and you know, she wanted to get bought. She wanted to get purchased by a child, and she couldn't because she lost her voice box. So, I mean, in the end, she wasn't really that evil. She just was kind of desperate, you know. This is the problem, you know. None of these, like the Incredibles 2 was really like the last time we actually got like a big main stage villain, Evelyn something. You know, it's a shame. And Elemental, I don't think there's going to be a villain. I think they're going for another one of these slice of life emotional movies, which is kind of lame. We've seen enough of these. I'd rather get back to the villain formula. You know, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish 2, or whatever. Puss in Boots 2, whatever you want to call it. That movie actually had a villain. You know. So that's really great. We actually got to see, he even used a bunch of fairy tale items, you know, that I don't want to spoil it for you, but I'm not going to tell you which one was the villain, but he used fairy tale items. So if you haven't seen it yet, you'll see, as soon as you see them, you'll know who it is. But great movie. In fact, you could even argue there's a second villain if you really count Goldilocks and the Three Bears. If you really count them, you kind of had like multiple villains that movie, which was really interesting. And of course, you also had, I don't want to spoil it again, but there was a wolf. There was a wolf character. You kind of had like three villains going on, whereas like modern day Pixar, you'd be lucky to see a single villain. So yeah, and Puss in Boots did really well. The movie was like, the ratings, the movie got over like 90% from critics and audience. It really just goes to show people want a villain. We can only hope. And then we have Elio. Elio is that movie. I have covered this one. So the idea is that there's aliens that exist. They send a message to Earth. They're like, hey, Earth, you know, join the Galactic Federation or whatever. And Elio happens to get the message, or it seems like that's going to be the plot of it. Elio gets the message. He gets mistakenly taken as the ambassador for Earth. And, you know, I guess he lies to the aliens, tells them he's like a hero or some shit. And that's the plot of Elio. It's going to be some like weird intergalactic movie. Something tells me there's not going to be a villain in that movie either. I think it's just going to be a plot where, like, you know, eventually the aliens do find out that he was just a boy from Earth. He wasn't actually the ambassador. And yeah, that's going to be the situation there, I think. Maybe there'll be like some kind of villain that's like trying to snitch on him or something. I don't know. But I have a feeling there's going to be like no villain. And then Inside Out, another situation where we have no villain. One of the big talking points that, God, we're 20 minutes in, but Elio and Inside Out 2. We've seen this before. Do you guys remember this? The Good Dinosaur. Remember? The Good Dinosaur. Let's go. Do we have the numbers here? Maybe we don't. Maybe we do. I don't know. Oh, we do. Okay. The Good Dinosaur and Inside Out. Remember, like Inside Out and The Good Dinosaur. This was the first time we've seen two Pixar movies in 1 year. These movies released very close to each other. Where was it? The Good Dinosaur, November 25th and June 19th. These movies released only like a few months apart from each other. And, people said Pixar was not equipped to do two movies in 1 year. Okay. So The Good Dinosaur ended up suffering. Let's take a look at those numbers. Inside Out actually did really, really well. 175 million budget. These are the budgets here. So they had 175 million budget for Inside Out. And I think that worldwide it ended up doing 857. That was almost $1 billion, right? It almost did $1 billion. Meanwhile, almost $1 billion there. Meanwhile, The Good Dinosaur on a budget of 175 million barely broke. Usually in the movie scene, you have to do 2.5 times what you made, right? That's what they say when you account the marketing budgets and everything. Usually you have to make a movie that does 2.5x the budget. And The Good Dinosaur was mostly viewed as the first ever Pixar flop. The story was bad. Most people called it a Lion King, a discount Lion King, a knockoff of Simba's story, and they're not wrong. I watched it myself and I'm like, yeah, it kind of is. It really feels like the goddamn Lion King. They even have a scene where what is his name, Arlo or something? Arlo like sees his dad, like the Mirage, kind of like Simba sees Mufasa. What the heck? It literally was just the Lion King. But with dinosaurs, and did not make. I don't think this one made back its budget because you have to do 2.5 times what the budget is here, and this thing would have need to make around 500 million to break even or profit. So yeah, that was probably like the first big flop from Pixar, and now we're about to see it again. We're about to see it again. We're gonna see Elio and Inside Out 2 in the same year. Will Elio cannibalize Inside Out 2 or vice versa? Because listen, guys, if I had to pick one movie, I already know what I have brand awareness of Inside Out 2. I have no clue what Elio is, right? Like, I just don't know what that is. Most audience members might say, like, what even is Elio? Do I want to watch that? And I think what you could see happen is they're going to cannibalize. Elio might just Inside Out 2 might just cannibalize Elio. I think they should wait more. They should give them more time, space between each release. Maybe only release Elio that year and then put Inside Out 2 in 2025. Interestingly enough, also March 1st to June. March, April, May, June. 4 months apart. 4 months. These are definitely going to cannibalize each other. People are going to be like, I only have enough for one ticket. Am I going to Inside Out 2 or Elio? Most people are going to go for Inside Out 2. So I see a cannibalization happening here. And I don't know. I think Disney should delay one of those films. That's just my recommendation. But what do I know? Maybe for all we know, Elio might just get dumped on, Disney Plus. We don't know. We just don't know. But that's going to be it. I think I went through everything. My thoughts on the cannibalization that could happen. I gave my thoughts on all the upcoming stuff here. The Finding Marlin that might happen 3 years down the road or something. And gave you guys my thoughts on the more recent films from Pixar, which just haven't been doing well in my eyes. Maybe some of you guys like Luca. Maybe some of you guys like Soul and Onward. I think the last good film they made was Coco. And that's about it, honestly. I didn't like Cars 3. I didn't like Finding Dory. The Good Dinosaur was sucked. And Inside Out was also one of the last good ones they made here. So yeah, I think after Inside Out, most of the stuff here was kind of mediocre. Bunch of sequels and just a bunch of woke garbage, especially in Lightyear and Onward. So yeah, Disney's not doing so hot. Who knows? Maybe we're going to see them go double down. Maybe Elio's going to have the first gay, conjoined twin. What are they going to do? Disney always, the first gay conjoined twin. No, they're gonna have the first incestuous. They're gonna go for the incest. Guys, it's the first incest themed conjoined twin. That's gonna be their big ploy to get people to watch the garbage movie. I'm worried for Disney. They would do something like that, and we can only hope they don't. We can only hope that. But that's the end of the video. I want to hear all your thoughts down below. Did I miss like any potential like future films here? I see they Newt got like shelved when like was it Rio? Yeah, Rio had a similar story to Newt, so they scrapped that one. There's a bunch of like a couple of movies here that they talk about that got like sidelined. You think any of those will come back? Do you think do you think The Incredibles 3? I think that'll happen in the next like 5 to I don't know, not 10 years. I think in the next 5 years, we could see Toy Story 5. We could see The Incredibles 3. But I'd rather see new stuff. I think like Elio, like Elemental and Elio, say what you will. Say what you will about these films. Or like, even especially Elemental doesn't look that appealing. It's a very creative looking film, but like a weird romance. Okay. Say what you will about this film. At least they're trying something new. Not a sequel, it's a fresh take. Not a spin-off like Lightyear or whatever. Is this even a spin-off? I don't even know. I think it is, right? No spin-offs. Let's see some real deal movies like Elio and Elemental. And let's hope they don't put their woke bullshit in there. The end. That's going to be the end of the video. Comment down below all your thoughts. Please like, share, subscribe. And why not watch an ad for your boy Sandro? The end. Bye-bye.